What's up, guys? How you doing? Excited to go see New Orleans tomorrow, see B. Staley, and be fun to be a good opportunity, really good team. Yeah, there's always that thought in the back of your mind, and even when we're going to Dallas practice, you trust that the film's not going to get out, and I know they got a quality staff just like ours, and just like we talked to Dallas, where the film's not going to get out, but there's always the word of mouth stuff, talking about what they ran and stuff. And yeah, there is that extra thing where we typically don't do this against teams we play against. So how much do you want to show, but you still want to run your stuff and test your rules? It's always that fine balance, similar to some of the preseason games. So yeah, it is a challenge, and definitely this time of year, it's one of those August preseason problems you're dealing with. We're doing our stuff, and it's rules ball right now. We're not necessarily game planning, whether it's a preseason game or an opponent. It has been interesting because you're watching the tape, and they played each other. The Saints played the Chargers, so we're watching obviously the Saints offense versus the Chargers defense, and and then it's obviously going to flip right after that. So typically you're playing the team. You're practicing against the team that you're playing against. So this is the first time that it's been kind of flipped like this. So it's a challenge. But, at the same time, we're not putting a ton of stock into, we don't know exactly with their injuries, who they're going to play. So many guys are switching in. So it's hard to game plan, this time of year. So, test our rules. And we're just excited to go against a really good opponent, really good O-line, really good skill. And we know that's going to be well coached with Coach Moore. The energy they played with. It felt like what we want to look like, what we want the Rams defense to look like, and obviously we had a lot of guys sitting out of the game, but, no matter what, when you go on the field, with our defense, there's a standard that they got to hold on to. So, it just seemed like they were connected. They were running to the ball. They were getting off blocks. They were communicating. And for the most part executing the right way that we want to do. And so, yeah, we're not game planning, but, every game when we step on the field wearing a Rams jersey playing defense, we want to look like that. No, 100%, because in these practice settings, it gets you go against another guy where, we practice against our office so much. They know our calls, at the line. We know their calls. And, the Saints, it's a completely different deal. So it's an opportunity to go against, another guy and try some things where you're not necessarily at a game and stuff like that. But at the same time, you still want to perform well. So there is that kind of heightened level of urgency. He was really good. He was really good. Communicated good. I thought he played really hard. Really thought that whole group, was fun. It was fun because G Money was calling the game, so I was kind of the linebackers coach again. So being able to talk to those guys on the sideline, really good demeanors, really good game day demeanors. Pooh Paul's always been a guy. Just talking to a lot of his college coaches and stuff, and in Ole Miss and stuff, that he when the lights come on, he shines the brightest. Where he tackles, he runs, he's physical, and when you can play full tackle football with the pads on, that's when he's going to shine the brightest. So thought he did a really nice job with the green dot, especially for missing those first couple weeks.
There's a couple of media outlets that are
The Rams are what?
number one defense.
But none of it matters. It's all fluff. Haven't, really looked into it too much. And, we just know that, there's going to be some expectations this year with, with how we finished last year and stuff. And it doesn't really change anything. It doesn't change anybody's mentality. It doesn't change how we go to work every day. And, you got to handle success and failure, the right way. And we all know that, this league is 1 day, 1 week away from being humbled. And, our guys are well aware of that. And that last year was definitely representative of that. So we all have that in the back of our minds. And we just want to continue to get better day by day going forward. He's been great. Joe Coniglio and Giff and Drew Wilkins have done an awesome job with him. And, he started off in OTAs. He had a little bit of a hamstring. So he really missed. They were here 2 weeks before we started our first true OTA practice. That day was actually his first day of doing any individual or anything. So, just to see him progress, whatever it was only 3 weeks, and I think we went to Hawaii, So we only had that little bit of time, and now he comes back healthy for training camp. And, as soon as the pads came on, kind of like Pooh, he's a guy that really showed up and thought he did an excellent job in the game. Great game day demeanor, but he's physical, he's tough, and we've loved the way he's progressed. And he's shown that he can learn, and, some of those guys in that room have really taken them under their wings. Yeah, it's a big competition. We got a lot of deep group that can play. You really feel good about whatever combination that Aubrey and Beak put out there. So, yeah, it's a big competition. It's going to be a last big couple weeks of training camp for some of those guys. But it's been fun. And what's cool about that room is, they're pushing each other, but they're all rooting for each other too. So it's not one of those things where there's any animosity versus who's in. And Coach Aubrey does a great job of rotating guys through and keeping guys fresh and giving guys a lot of reps. So it's been fun to see, and I feel like the competition has really brought the best out of those guys so far. So excited to keep watching it. He definitely, we're, especially in OTA's training camp before we got pads on, we're not really bull rushing too much, so it allows him to kind of work some hands, work some edges, work a different array of moves. So, trying to do it. And then the same thing, like you said, we know that's his bread and butter, and but it's also not something you want to be doing every snap versus our guys. And, sometimes you bull rush, that kind of pushes the pocket. You're right on the, on Jimmy G's feet or Stetson's feet, and, that can be a tough thing. So he's definitely using that as an option to try to progress stuff. And just like you talked about earlier with trying new things, and that's what we've tried to hit on with him, trying some different stuff to, continue to get his arsenal better. Yeah, he's a great coach, and he connects with his guys. He really does. He's hard on them, and he's really tough on them, just like Gift Smith. But he can be hard on them because he has such a good connection with those guys. And it's fun to see the relationship that him and BY have, that they kind of came in the league. Joe's first year in the league, we drafted BY as a rookie, and see those two kind of grow together. And then the relationship he's built with Verse and, B-Jack and a lot of those guys in the room. He builds a really good relationship with those guys. He builds a trust. He shows that, he has a competence and he can help those guys become the best players that they can be. And in order to do that, he's hard on them sometimes, but the guys like it because he knows, he's out for the best for them.
All right. Thanks, Jackson.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So what's the challenge of preparing for a joint practice against
Yeah, the good part is, playing in a few months, there's going to be a lot of, obviously, film and data out there by that point. So, but I mean, there is, some things that you might not show in those first, 8 weeks or whatever it is. So you just got to kind of pick and choose. Sean and I went through that this morning for a while just to see, hey, let's just make sure, cross our T's, dot our I's. But, right now it's still early August, and we're just thinking about ourselves going against a different opponent, which will be good. Sometimes it's just, with a rookie, you're trying to figure out, can you learn one position, and then if you obviously got that down, the more you know, the better it's going to be for you, particularly if you're not a starter, right? Because you just got to be ready to jump in. So it's kind of those guys like, hey, you got a year under your belt, and going into that second year, making sure that you are able to know all three, pending the week, pending the practice, so that you're more flexible and more versatile when those situations arise.
Throughout this process, you talked about, like, you saw Stetson Bennett, but couldn't wait for us to see Josiah. What's next for Stetson as we approach the
Yeah, just to continue. I mean, it was one game, right? And we take each practice as it is, one practice, and one game as it is. So happy for what he did. For the most part, the ball went where it was supposed to. I thought he played with great timing, great anticipation. That lookie that he said no to and ended up getting to Xavier Smith on the right side was awesome. Just an incredible progression, and just understanding, within the time of a play. But it was cool to see that. I thought most importantly, he operated well. I thought our operation in and out of the huddle was excellent. It's just them out there. We're not standing behind there. We can't just call 14 timeouts and make sure we're all set for the next play. So, continue to do that, continue to build and play each play as its own.
Let's talk about
Yeah, good. I mean, Dedich is a very smart dude, so he can move on a whim amongst any of those interior spots. I'm sure he can tell the tackles what they need to do. You have to at center to make sure we're direct and everything. But no, he's tough. He's smart. He's a guy's guy. He fits with these guys. He's a good football player. We're fortunate to have him. As far as who? You're saying Corum in there, Kyren? Yeah, because Kyren, he was good running his routes earlier in the day. But no, you're good there. No, but they ran well. I thought as a unit, especially as the game went on, they just the holes were getting bigger and bigger. I know Schrader there at the end, that was pretty cool just to see. I don't know, it was 4 or 5 straight runs, the exact same run, and guys just opening the holes. But no, they ran hard. They got the ball where it was supposed to go to, and backs. The more they get the ball, whether it be within a game, a practice, and then as you stack weeks, the better and more comfortable they get. So it was good to see live bullets. This is what we expected, and continue to look for improvement.
What are your thoughts on the job Xavier has done as a wide receiver?
Yeah, I think X-Man has just gotten better and better. I think that goes from the first year he was here a few years ago to last year, making a few plays when we need it, whether it be special teams, stepping in. I thought versus Seattle, where obviously we were resting, some of our starters, I thought he played excellent there. There was a few times he was put in a real tough situation, and he got us out of those situations to keep us a little bit in manageable situations. So he's only gotten better. I think, per the conversation we were just having in terms of what do you see from these guys 1 year to 2 year to 3 year, like the more he knows our offense really well. He's comfortable going in a lot of different spots. He's got a unique skill set. I think he's always been a strong guy, but he looks stronger to me. He looks sturdier in a good way. So no, I'm real pleased with where he's at. And again, like a lot of these guys, just continue to stack days. I think it's just a continuation of what I said earlier. I just think he just looks sharper in what he's doing, He's always, one of his superpowers has been his hands. He attacks it so much sometimes when he doesn't need to on some of these screens and stuff that we have to pull him back. But, that's just, it's part of what he does. He sees ball, he goes, gets ball, right? And, so there's just little fine tuning and those kind of things. But those are easy fixes. Those are fixes you want to make, But, no, for him, it's, again, just getting himself ready, taking it one day at a time, getting a rapport with these quarterbacks and, being in the best physical and mental shape that he can be in along with these other guys going into week 1. Yeah, he's always been a leader within his own. He's very socially aware too, right? I mean, being a young guy, you just kind of get in where you fit in a little bit, but ultimately, when you play the way he does, people are going to look up to you, whether it be in the stands and the fans that he has, rightfully so, and then obviously the players, going into year 3. Yeah, I mean, I know I don't want to get too much what goes in the meeting room, but I know he runs the remote a little bit, and that's, as he's just gotten more and more comfortable and more and more leadership. So, but he's always had that personality that people are going to be, kind of go to, I guess you could say. So, no, just pleased with where he's at. I've heard. Yeah, no, he's a strong, sturdy dude, right? I mean, he's whatever he was listed at and all that, but he had a great career, going to Coastal Carolina, transferring to North Carolina, being a first-team All-American, and sometimes, obviously, the attributes don't get you drafted, if you will, but it doesn't matter. You just got to land, and I like what we've seen from him. I thought he had a really good game. I thought he got better as the game went on. And again, like I keep saying, not to be a broken record, but him for just to keep stacking these days and being the best he can be through August, getting himself ready for whatever September has. Yeah, I mean that's just it, right? I mean, it's just having that second year of those off-season meetings, from obviously starting in April and then going all the way till, the end of OTAs and then coming back and hearing it again. I mean, it's the fourth time from an introduction standpoint he's hearing these plays, and then obviously the day-to-day, being in the quarterback room, being in the unit room or skill room, in terms of just hearing these plays over and over and conceptually what we're trying to get done. So Jimmy, as long as he's comfortable with the terminology and all that, like when that ball snap, he's as comfortable as it comes. I think we've all seen that throughout his career. There's a reason he's had this success he has had. So, when he's feeling good about everything, usually good stuff happens because his physical ability is able to take over. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.